live. I think we are. Hello and welcome to the United Stand. We are building towards, without question, the biggest game of the season. I think it's the biggest game in English football, and I'm going to keep embracing it all the way till Sunday. And then if we lose, I'm emigrating. That's the way it's going to go. But I'm joined by, we've had the Red Men on at lunchtime. I've now got Craig, who was on last time. So it's great to get him back from Anfield Agenda. How are you doing, Craig?
I'm excellent, thank you, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, and we were talking off camera there, and I want to get this straight into it because last time you were so confident before Christmas. We were going to Anfield, we were crap under Jose Mourinho. I've entitled the show "Klopp fears Solskjaer's Manchester United" because I think, you know what, that's not. I don't think that's a lie. I don't think that's like saying, "Oh, Liverpool is shit. You come in here like you have in previous years." I just think it's a. I mean, look, I'm going to say this straight away. I don't think you're one of these Liverpool fans, but I remember last year or the year before, you got a few Liverpool fans saying, if the season was run from January till December, we won the title. And I think, well, I can say, if the season started when Solskjaer came in, we'd be ahead of you. Of course, it's total bollocks. I mean, that's not when the season is. The season's from August till May. But we are. I mean, what are your feelings about this game going into it? Because are you totally confident you're going to come and beat us, or are you thinking, bloody hell, this is a proper Manchester United-Liverpool game, and I'm very excited about it?
I'll kind of circle back to where I was when we spoke the last time. I said to you that sometimes in these games, form goes out the window. You always assume it's going to be a battle of attrition. Yes, I was confident at Anfield, but that was more so the fact that we were at Anfield. Going to Old Trafford was always going to be difficult. The media are really liking to play this up so that it's our game in hand with City. They really love to push that. They love to neglect the fact that City have to go to Old Trafford as well. They don't mention that too often. But for me, Mark, I take a point. I'm not joking. If we could go there, I've predicted a 1-1 draw on our stream, so I'd be happy to leave Old Trafford with a point and just keep nudging ahead of City.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I don't have a lot of love for the mainstream media anyway, because I'm absolutely fed up to the back teeth. I don't know how it is with you for Liverpool. I'm fed up of watching Manchester United games, and then someone in the live comments say Sky have given this player this United player man of the match, or this player, and it's like, who are they actually watching the game? So I don't take much note of them. I don't take much note of Arsenal fans, by the way, who are trying to get at me on Twitter tonight because they beat the Belarusian Farmers at home. I've got proper things to deal with. I've got proper games to deal with, not that bloody Emmerdale Cup crap, so leave me alone. But I am massively excited about this game because Manchester United and Liverpool are the two biggest clubs in England, and for different reasons. You're obviously going for something that you've never done, which is win a Premier League title, and you're very excited about that. And we are just happy that our season didn't die in December, and we've actually got something to play for. And you know what? Fourth place is crap for United, but it's something we never thought we were going to get. And, you know, we're doing quite well in the FA Cup as well. So I'm just very, very excited. And I think what you said there, I mean, I don't know, if you were playing City on Sunday, City are better than us, but a lot of people think, oh, it's going to be really tight. I personally don't. I think you could come and win 3-0. I think we could beat you 3-0. I think it could be a 2-2 draw. I think that's the excitement. I don't know what the score's going to be. I think I'm going to go with the Manchester United win 2-1. That's what I went with. But I think people think, oh, it's going to be a tight, cagey affair. And I think we're probably both old enough. It doesn't, just because they're well-matched teams and they're both in form and it's a massive rivalry, it doesn't mean it's going to go that way. I mean, you could play City tomorrow and beat them 4-0. They could beat you the next day 4-0. I think that's part of the excitement of it. Yes, it could be a draw, like you say, but it could be a thrashing for either team. You just don't know, and that's what us as fans, even though we're rivals, I can feel the excitement now.
It is a bit strange for me going into this game because when the fixtures come out, you look for this game, don't you? You look for, if you're a Manchester United fan, you're looking for Liverpool fan, you're looking for Manchester United. Now, the fact that this has come about, we're in a position where we're going for, as you said, something that we haven't won yet. We haven't won a top league title in 29 years now, so it's a big deal for us. So the midfield is what scares me in this one. I was thinking about Jurgen Klopp's possible selections. I was looking at how the form Pogba's in. I was looking at Herrera. And I was just thinking, for me, that's where this game is going to be won or lost. And that's what makes me both nervous and confident at the same time, if that makes any sense.
I'll tell you what, 100%. I think that would be music to the ears of the United Stand community, especially because we've been talking about this midfield. I mean, there's a few areas, and we'll talk about it actually, because I want to get your thoughts on, you know, what players you would take from United, because I've not been asked this question about who I'd take from Liverpool, so I'd like to do that rather than a combined 11 where we go. Because we'll argue over the keeper. I'll be like, De Gea's the best goalkeeper in the world, and you say I wouldn't have him over Alisson. So I'd rather just you have a little think about what players you take from United and put in Liverpool, and I'll have a think about that in a minute. But and people at home can do as well. But do you think Liverpool game is a must-win or a dare not lose? Says Sebastian Anderson. So that's a super chat. So I'd like to answer that first and go back to what I was on about. Do you think Liverpool game is a must-win or a dare not lose for you, Craig, as a Liverpool fan? Is it a dare not lose, so you take the draw, or is it a must-win?
I would definitely say a dare not lose. For me, personally, anyway, I take the point.
Yeah, and actually that puts you top of the league anyway, doesn't it? Because you're joint anyway at the top. You know what? For us, I think a draw would be a very good result, because somebody said to me today, they were trying to wind me up, that you've not played anyone decent yet. And I actually, before I replied, went, actually, it's a very good point, but I'm not going to give him it. Because the reality is, we've beaten Chelsea, we've beaten Arsenal, we've beaten Spurs. But actually, they're right. Liverpool and City are the real tests for United, because they are a level above everybody else. So I think that if we got a draw against you at the weekend, we shouldn't be disappointed with it. But I think if we draw, Arsenal are going to win and they'll be above us. And that really pisses me off. So I'm like, we can't lose it. We can't lose it, because I think we basically hand you the title. I actually think you're going to win the title, and I know that's reverse psychology, but I do. I certainly think you will if you win on Sunday. So I think United have got to win on Sunday, really, and that's the greed that's come back towards us, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'd take a draw over a loss. I mean, of course I would. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do if we lose this game. It's different for you because you'll still be joint top, but for us, if we lose it, it's like it bursts the bubble of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the great job that he's done, because no manager of Manchester United can lose to Liverpool at Old Trafford. It's just not part of the plan, but it could be, but I hope that's not the case. With regards to that midfield, we were talking about it there, though. I mean, we've got this, I call it the Bermuda Triangle. We've got the left-hand side with Shaw and Pogba and Martial. I don't know whether Martial's going to play. But the midfield, to be fair, has been nothing short of sensational. Matic, I'm not a massive fan of him, but he's probably the most improved player under Ole. Herrera is just unbelievable. And Pogba, we found the real Pogba. But you're not weak in the midfield either. So that, I agree. I said it against Chelsea. I said it against Arsenal. If you win the midfield battle, you win the game. And we did win the midfield battle in those games. But I hear about Liverpool. Wijnaldum's good. Kate is now finding form. You've got Fabinho. Henderson was man of the match the other day. How do you think they will line up? Oh, no, not for you.
No, he was good. He played very well. I mean, Jordan Henderson impressive. I just thought Fabinho was outstanding.
I love Fabinho, yeah. So you drop Henderson and bring Fabinho in, which is the one I would fear, to be honest.
I was looking before I came on. I was looking on social media just to see how everybody's feeling, and I seen a couple of people were suggesting to leave Fabinho beside Virgil van Dijk and drop Joel Matic to the bench, and put in Jordan Henderson back into midfield, which I don't agree with. I think you need Fabinho in that midfield. I'd go with Fabinho, Gini Wijnaldum, and you know what? It's a toss-up between Henderson and Keita, depending on how on the front foot the manager wants to go. But for me, stop Paul Pogba. Game one. It's that simple for me. If we can stop Pogba game one. Herrera's the type of guy that if he's in your team or you're a fan of United, you love him. If you're playing against them or you're an opposition fan, you absolutely despise them.
And that's what you love, isn't it? I love that about Herrera as well, because I think when I go on a football pitch for the United stand, the opposition feel like that, and you always get, well, as we saw with the game I had with DT, you get in their head and they lose it. And Herrera, I like that sort of player who riles the opposition, and maybe they won. It's like, well, Gerrard did it, didn't he? How long was it gone in 60 seconds? He came on at half time. Yeah. He had to go on Herrera, and that's because Herrera is a despised shit to everybody else. But as a United fan, I love it because that's what he does. And I mean, his form is absolutely fantastic at the moment. But talking about Liverpool, because obviously I want to get your thoughts on United, but I watched the Liverpool Bayern Munich the other night. In fact, I was doing a watch along on That's Football, and I saw you were doing yours on the Anfield Agenda. And I did watch it, and I've watched Liverpool a few times this season. Not as much as I maybe have watched like Spurs, but I've seen Liverpool a few times this season. And am I correct in saying that Liverpool are a much better defensive side this season, but you're not as free-flowing up front this season?
Yeah, it's almost as if Klopp has sacrificed something in the system to make sure that we don't concede. Because every time we've been challenging for a title, whether it be 08, 09, 13, 14, we've been leaking goals. And this season we haven't. It's made a massive difference having Van Dijk there, but it's not as simple as just saying Van Dijk. We've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. Joe Gomez was outstanding before he picked up that injury. Andy Robertson, for me, is one of the best buys in the Premier League over the past 5 years for the money we got him for. Basically a free swap with Kevin Stewart, which is ridiculous when you think about it. So, yeah, I do feel Klopp has sacrificed something. But it's okay because look where we are. I mean, it would be great to have some more swashbuckling football going forward, but top of the league, or we will be joint top of the league at the minute. Go back by a point if we get a point, or 3 points if we win. So he's doing something right. I can understand some Liverpool fans being a little bit frustrated. It hasn't been me personally. I mean, I never expected Mo Salah, for instance, to go and score 40-something goals again this season. I just thought that was an anomaly. And when you have that breakthrough season, defences become aware of you. They double up you, they treble up on you. They just don't give you space. And we've seen that with him this year. And yeah, I think what you're saying is fair. We're doing okay, but yeah, we have kind of sacrificed a little bit going forward.
The thing is, though, that's probably benefited you, because even at the start of the season, a lot of people saying Liverpool aren't playing very well, but you're grinding out the wins like Palace away and that. And if you want to win a title, I mean, if you're strong at the back, you're strong at the back. And if you don't concede on Sunday, you'll get at least a point. That's the rule, isn't it? Theo Knight Handstand says Craig swears like a drunk sailor. I love his channel. Anfield Agenda is the channel for Craig. We will shout it out at the end. 1-1 Craig's going for. I'm going to stick to the 2-1 that I've said already. Just to give you my thoughts on Liverpool anyway, from a United perspective, and I am confident. I think that confidence is mainly to do with the way I've seen us playing, but also it's Manchester United at home at Old Trafford, and I think if we were under Mourinho, I would not be confident. When we did the show for the Anfield game in December, I wasn't confident. I thought, Liverpool are a much better team than us. I still think you're a better team than us, but I just think that the gap has closed a lot, and I think with the home advantage and momentum, the form, it makes it quite interesting. And also, I think you're moving into that part now where we as United fans know what it's like when you're in a title race. The wall starts to get a little bit bigger. And that's not, I'm not even going to say the fact that you've never won it before. I don't think it's even about that. I remember United have won it loads of times, and it just gets to that point between February and May where it does start to drop into your head, and it can become a little bit of a grind. But I do look at United, and I think defensively we're good. We've not got as good a back four as you, but defensively we're good. I'd be confident of Lindelof and Smalling, or Lindelof and Babe, being able to deal with Firmino. I think Luke Shaw is massively improved, and him against Salah will be interesting. I'm worried about Mane against Young. Young can either be fantastic or absolutely shit. The midfield battle we've spoken about, and then we move into the front three, and I think that's where United may be weak, because we've got Rashford, who I think can cause problems, but it depends whether Lingard and Martial are back. If they're back, this is why I've said Klopp fears United. I mean, I don't know whether you've heard his quotes, but he was basically saying that, United with Lingard and Martial in it are just terrifying in relation to what they can do on the counter-attack. And he said also the momentum that Solskjaer will go on the front foot. How do you think, when you've come to United and you've got Mourinho, we're going to park the bus effectively. With Solskjaer, if you saw us against Chelsea on Monday night, we were pressing them away from home right up into their penalty box from minute one. Do you think that's better for Liverpool or worse? Would you rather be playing Mourinho park the bus, or would you rather be this team that's going to basically play the way you play?
Yeah, I'll always back Liverpool when we play against a team that comes out and plays. It's teams that sit deep. It's no secret. When teams sit deep, Liverpool can struggle if we don't get an early goal. I'm really looking forward to this one. I have to say, trepidation's there, of course, but United are looking like the Manchester United that I grew up despising. They're looking really, really good. I have to say, Solskjaer has got them playing a style of football that I didn't think they were capable of with the players that they had. I've been very impressed with Marcus Rashford. I mean, you were speaking earlier on about who I might take to Liverpool if we could have some players. Well, Marcus Rashford will be pretty near the top of that list. I have to say the confidence he's developing under Solskjaer is sickening from a Liverpool point of view. But look, I've always said on my show I'm not a hater. I give credit where it's due. I always try and speak my mind and speak honestly. And Manchester United have improved, and it would be foolish of me to come on here and say otherwise.
I say that as well. I've had a lot of people like, you were up at Liverpool the other day. Why didn't you go to Anfield and do the piss take stadium thing that you did for Stamford Bridge and you did for the Emirates?
Which was brilliant, by the way. Absolutely brilliant.
High five. But also, why are you not taking the piss out of Liverpool as well? And it's like, you know what? I don't like this walk, Goldbridge always takes W's. That's just pantomime stuff. But there is a process to what I do. I banter people like Chelsea and Arsenal because I know I'm going to win. I am not going to go and banter Liverpool because there is an opportunity on Sunday that Liverpool turn up and win, and then I look an idiot. So I suppose that's respect in a way, but the rivalry matters. Now, I think United will win. But this is a big test. This is our biggest test, and I know we've been saying that for a long time, but it is our biggest test. And Liverpool and Manchester City, unfortunately for United, are on a different level. I think the way Liverpool have invested over the last 2 years, I think last summer you got your goalkeeper, last January you got the centre-back you needed, and last summer you also got the squad depth so that you've got bench players that can come on and make a difference. And I think United need to go through that process as well. But like you, there's no love lost between United and Liverpool fans. I lived in Ireland, which is where you are, and you're either a United or a Liverpool fan. I grew up with Liverpool fans in the late 80s because you were winning. I had to put up with all that. So I despise Liverpool in that sense, but I don't despise people just because they support Liverpool. And I do, like you, I can see talent and I can see a manager that's doing well and I can see a squad that's been built well. And as much as I hate to say it, I do respect what Liverpool have done far more than what Manchester City have done, which is just basically spun coil all over the Premier League. So but there cannot be any more than a. We can discuss it, but we all know deep down we'll be crying on Sunday night if we lose. With regards to Solskjaer, what are your thoughts on that? As a Liverpool fan, I always think it's interesting to get a Liverpool fan's perspective on United things, because you're going to say, keep Solskjaer if you think he's shit, get rid of him if you don't think he isn't. What are your thoughts on Solskjaer at United? Do you think it's a flash in the pan DiMatteo sort of thing, or do you think what are your thoughts as a Liverpool fan?
It's twofold, really. I think you keep going, leave him how he is, don't commit to anything just yet. I think Gary Neville said something similar, just keep going, maybe going towards April and see how he's getting on. But for me at United, they need a director of football, and I think that's going to be put in place from what I'm reading or what I'm seeing. And if you put a director of football in there, that gives you that consistency regardless of the coach that's there. So you've seen that with Tiki Begiristain at Manchester City. We have it with Klopp, obviously, but we do have Michael Edwards there as well. And you've got somebody who is in charge of that, who keeps the philosophy of the club regardless if the manager changes. And if United do that, because let's be honest, your transfer business, regardless of individual players, there's been no rhyme or reason to it. It's just been crazy. So if you can get somebody in there as a director of football and keep Ole Gunnar Solskjaer winning like he is, then why not give him the job? Why not? Just roll the dice. But you need consistency one way or the other behind the scenes. And a director of football, for me at United, is the obvious answer.
Yeah, well, plenty of us are on about that, and to be honest with you, I think the director of football is already too late. I mean, as we know, transfers can be worked on for months, and it's February, so even if we get one in now, I don't know what the plan is, and that is a relevant point for United. Sebastian Anderson, so let's move on to this. He says, does Craig think Alisson is better than De Gea? Do you guys think there's much difference between the two? De Gea usually plays a key part when we play against Liverpool. Well, I'd be stunned if you said that you'd rather have De Gea in goal to Alisson, because Liverpool fans are very, very happy with him.
Let me put it this way, I'll give you two answers to this. I'd rather have Alisson in goal for Liverpool, but David De Gea is a better goalkeeper in my opinion. He's a proven, consistent goalkeeper. He's the best goalkeeper in the world in my opinion. I've said that consistently on my show. I'm not a hater, as I keep saying, but Alisson does suit how we play, just how Ederson suits how Manchester City play. And on that, actually, before I forget, because I wanted to say this at the start, can I just take a moment to send our best wishes to everybody at Manchester City over that tragic incident over in Germany. I know you posted about it, Mark, earlier on, but we don't need that in football. There's no place for it in football. Rivalries get pushed aside. We're all football fans at the end of the day. What might happen to a Manchester City fan or a United fan could happen to a Liverpool fan or any other fan at any time. And there's certain times where you just got to push that stuff aside and just, stand together. And this is one of those times. It happened with Sean Cox. It's happened with the Manchester City fan. And there's just not room for it, mate, in the game. It's just a sad, sad story.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, yeah, I should have said that at the start myself, to be fair. It's true. If nobody's aware, there's a Manchester City fan critically injured in Germany after the game or during the game yet last night. And look, Liverpool fans have been through that. And I always say it as well. It's like a football fan shouldn't go to a football match and not come home. And hopefully he will come home eventually. But we're all football fans in that sense. And this is what I mean. I keep saying it. Football it's rivalry. It should never be enemy, and that's where it went wrong. I think in the past with the hooliganism and things like that, it goes too far, and in some countries it still is going too far. I think banter's brilliant. I think rivalry's great, but I totally agree with you, Craig, and thanks for reminding me about that. So really, really good point. But let's talk about who you. Well, I'll do mine, and then you can do yours. So and also I just want to say as well about that De Gea thing, you're spot on. If I was offered Salah, I wouldn't take him because I'd rather have Martial. But Salah's a better player than Martial at the moment. It's as clear as that. And sometimes that makes total sense to me. You might have a player in your squad, your team, that you just wouldn't swap for anybody, even though they might be a better player. Like Neymar, I don't want him and his sister coming to my club. Anyway,
you can add his mum to the list now.
Oh, is he?
He was slapping his mother on the arse as well now before his little operation or something. Did you not see that video? It's hilarious.
No, I didn't. Yeah, we don't want none of that at our club. But no, I wouldn't want Neymar at our club anyway. He's a brilliant footballer. I just don't like him anyway. I just don't like his antics. So that's the good answer. But so if I was having a combined Liverpool United 11, or if I had to take anyone from Liverpool, I'd have De Gea in goal. I would take Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, because we're crap at right back and we haven't seen the best of Delo yet. I'd take Van Dijk. I would play him with Lindelof. I really like Andy Robertson, but I'm a massive fan of Luke Shaw, so I wouldn't do it. I'd keep Luke Shaw. My midfield three would be Fabinho, Herrera and Pogba. I've always been open that I wanted Fabinho. I like Matic, but I prefer Fabinho. And then my front three would be Rashford, Martial and Salah. So I would take Salah, Fabinho, Van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I would take 4 of your players into my team. And I think that's not just because I think some people will be there, Robertson's better than Shaw, and I think that goes back to there. It's not about, I think Robertson's a great left back, but I prefer Luke Shaw. So
yeah, if we're just looking at who would fit into our system, I've actually thought about this a lot, because I've been asked this in the week building up to the game. I would only take Paul Pogba, Martial and Marcus Rashford, if I'm being honest, for Liverpool. And that's not to take the piss out of United players, because I think you're doing a bit of rebuilding at the minute. But sometimes, as you said, Mark, it's horses for courses, isn't it? It's who you need in what position.
Yeah.
And any midfield would be blessed with Paul Pogba. A Paul Pogba that's the Paul Pogba of recently. A Paul Pogba that was the Paul Pogba at Juventus under Allegri. Rashford is tremendous. He's just developing into a really, really, really good player. And Martial, there's undoubted talent there. And I'm sure you're absolutely over the moon that your club nailed him down to a new contract, because that was getting a bit squeaky bum time there for a while.
Who would you as your centre back instead of Lindelof? Are you thinking Joe Gomez, or are you going Matic over Lindelof?
Joe Gomez.
Yeah,
I absolutely adore Joe Gomez.
He's a good player.
It's such a shame what's happening to him, and I hope it's not a long-term thing. I hope he's just been very unlucky with 2 injuries, and I hope, as people have suggested, he isn't injury prone for his own sake, because he's got a big, big future ahead of him. But anything we say, and I know you're the same coming back to me, if I don't pick United players, it's not because I'm coming on here to belittle them. It's because I genuinely feel, and this could be the first time in 15 years I've been able to say this, but I feel like we've got a very, very complete squad. But you do have talent, and any club would welcome in talent. So how could you not have Pogba, Martial, Rashford? They're just tremendous players.
I think that United need to do what Liverpool's done. We need to go and get probably 3 or 4 players and sort the squad element out of our squad. But there's a few people in the live comments. They might be Liverpool fans, they might be United fans, and they're just going absolutely mad because I've not put Andy Robertson over Luke Shaw. And if anyone's listened to me this year, I am a massive fan of Andy Robertson in a respectful way. I think he's the best left back in the league. But it sort of fits in with what Craig's logic there is. Andy Robertson's a better player than Luke Shaw. I just wouldn't take him out. I wouldn't take Luke Shaw out of my team. I'm a massive fan of Luke Shaw, and I think Luke Shaw's going to get better and better. So I'm not saying Robertson's not better than Shaw, he is. But I wouldn't take him at United, because we're not doing combined 11s, we're doing who we would take from Liverpool. So for me, it just would be Van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho and Salah. That would be the 4 I would incorporate, which is funny because we've done this quite a lot, Craig. We're talking about where United need to improve, and the clever people in the United Stand community will have realised what I've done here. We need a centre-back, a right-back, a right-sided midfielder and a CDM. So I've basically took those 4 positions from you. I'm not going to take a left-back because I don't think we need a left-back.
What's your thoughts on Roberto Firmino? I often ask opposition fans this, because from a Liverpool perspective, he's my favourite player at the club. I love everything about him. I love his attitude. I love the influence he has on games. And I love how underrated he is by opposition fans.
I mean, to be honest, I used to do the FIFA 19 stuff, and I had Firmino in my team for a long time because he played the role quite well as the sort of centre attacking midfielder. But I mean, FIFA's not real life, actually, is it? But I think Firmino this season, I haven't really taken much notice of him. I thought last season I really noticed him a lot, and I was like, well, he's got to be one of the best sort of number 9s in the league. Whereas this year, I don't know whether that's, because I also know a number 9 isn't always about goals. They're about the hard work and the way they play within the team. So I think, the fact that so many Liverpool fans I've seen going on about Rashford, well, Rashford would surely kick Firmino out of the team anyway if they wanted him. What's the story with him this season? Is he just not scoring many goals, or?
It's kind of down to the system we spoke about earlier on, the way we're a little bit more defensive this season, and he's been asked to come deeper at times. I think, I'm hoping and praying that we'll sign Timo Werner in the summer, by the way. And I'm hoping if Timo Werner comes in, then we're going to see a diamond, with Mane, Timo Werner, Salah, and Bobby Firmino maybe a little bit deeper. And I think that could do a lot of damage. So it's the system, really, as far as I'm concerned. And you're right, I don't measure Firmino's season in goals. I have to be honest and say this hasn't been his best season in a Liverpool shirt. I'm not a pig-headed fan. I do see that he hasn't been up to his same level, but he just gives you so much on the field. When it comes to pressing, he's always the first one there. When it comes to distances covered behind James Milner, because James Milner is just a machine, he's unbelievable. And he's like the manager on the field. Him and Andy Robertson are like Jurgen Klopp's little boys, or little managers, or little mini-me's on the field, much like maybe Roy Keane was under Alex Ferguson.
You know what? I mean, I don't watch Liverpool enough to know this, but it's funny because Andrei Kanchelskis was having a bit of a pop at Paul Pogba today, and I was like, I'm going to read this and get myself mad about Kanchelskis. And then actually what he said was spot on, is that Pogba needs to be more of a leader for United because they haven't got any. And that is something we do lack, and that could be important. As important as the referee, actually, at the weekend, is that United don't really have the lead. Well, Ashley Young wears the captain's armband, and as I've said before, he couldn't lead a pack of ants to a picnic with an open bottle of pop as a trail. He's just no captain at all. So we do lack that. But I think that, let me just have a look at this actually here. Manchester United and Liverpool, since we played on December the 16th. So there's been 9 Premier League games each. We've won 8, you've won 6. We've got 25 points, you've got 20. 23 goals each. No, you've got 22. Goals conceded 6, 8. So it's quite equal there, but the interest. I'm not a stat person, and I know you're not as well. But I just thought some people in the live comments are, so I thought I'd read it. Firmino, Mane, and Salah, their most successful club they've played against in the Premier League is Watford, where they've got 10 goals and 5 assists. 22nd, Manchester United. Now I know there's not 20 clubs. There's 20 clubs in the Premier League, so I don't know why Manchester United are 22nd. I think they must have just done it. I don't know why they've done that, but Firmino, Mane and Salah don't have a great record against Manchester United, surprisingly. And this is an interesting one for United fans. The Pogba-Rashford partnership. Premier League starts together under Mourinho, 11. Chances created for each other, 2. Assists for each other, 0. Games together under Ollie. So it was 11 games under Mourinho together, Pogba and Rashford, and they only created 2 chances with no assists. They've only had 8 games under Solskjaer. They've had 3 assists and they've created 12 chances for each other, which I think is a strong indication of the different proposition that Manchester United now are under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But as we know, Craig, stats mean bugger all anyway in a game of this magnitude, and you're going to go for a draw.
I am, and I'm very happy with the choice of referee, I have to say. Very happy indeed.
Yeah, Michael Oliver, is that sarcasm, or do you think he's...
No, genuinely, if you look back on my streams over the past few weeks, and I don't hold back on referees, by the way, I really do think the Premier League needs better referees all around. I'm not saying we've been hard done by. I've seen so many decisions for every club, and you can say it evens itself out, but if you watch back, you'll see that Michael Oliver is the one that I've said I believe is probably the best referee in England.
See, I hope he's going to prove that on Sunday, and all will be forgiven, Michael, if you're watching. But I actually have bad experiences with Michael Oliver and find him to be Clattenburg's love child at times. I think back to some of the things he's done, especially in Manchester derbies, like Joe Hart basically headbutting him and not even getting a yellow card, and then he sends Chris Smalling off. I don't know. I'd like to be proved wrong, but in fairness, it doesn't matter who the referee is. I don't know where you stand on this, but I really hope that if Fabinho clatters Pogba in the first 5 minutes, or Herrera puts Salah into the stadium, he just goes play on. I don't want to see a yellow card in the first 5 minutes, because I don't want to see this game ruined by red cards, unless it's a Liverpool player, of course. But in all seriousness, I just hope he lets it be played like a derby, because we are going to not sit back. We sit back under Mourinho, which slows the tempo down, which means you've got the ball. We want the ball, you want the ball. That means both teams are going to press, both teams are going to tackle. That means there's going to be lots of tackling. It's Liverpool, it's Manchester United, which is the biggest game in English football, so that gives it an extra edge. You can't and I know they're professional sports people, but you cannot control emotions of players in that sort of pressure cooker environment where especially when both managers will say, go and stamp your authority out there, go and get the ball. There's going to be tackles, and I just hope he lets it flow.
Yeah, I can understand what you were saying about not like Michael Oliver. Look, every club has that referee or two, don't they? That they think, and we're all hypocrites. Let's be honest. As football fans, we're all hypocrites. I'll see Michael Oliver make a decision against us next week, and I'll be screaming blue murder about it and saying how crap he is. But as you said, I would like the game to him to lay his cards out at the start and just let people know, look, I'm going to allow the game to flow. If there's something that needs to be pulled up, if there's a yellow card, he has to pull it up. Fair enough. But at the same time, you don't want to see, for in your case, maybe Matic picking up a yellow card, or in our case, Fabinho, and then him being targeted for the rest of the game because he picked up an early yellow card for something really, really petulant or silly. So I agree with you. It'd be much better if the game was allowed to flow and we got this game that we're all hoping for. This back and forth, 100 miles an hour, blood and guts, everything, which is, to me, the biggest game in world football. And I don't care what people in La Liga say. This, for me, Manchester United Liverpool is the biggest game in world football, bar none.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you still get some idiots who think it's not the biggest in England, and I think, you can't buy the biggest game in England. It's the biggest game in England because we're the two biggest successful clubs in England with the best fan bases in England, and it matters. I think that, like you said before, Craig, this year we're very fortunate. I'd rather it mattered more, and I think I can't think of one for a few years where it has mattered so much. And I think also the fact that for the first time in a long time, it matters for you more than it matters for us, because you're higher up the league. It still matters for us, but the stakes are higher for what you're going for. We can't be in a title race, but we can dint your title race, and that always used to be your job in previous years.
Yeah, that's true. There's no denying it. It was interesting to see your fixture against City rearranged, actually. Somebody told me that was pushed back to April. Is that true?
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point, actually, because we were playing them, I think, on the 15th of March or something like that, but obviously that's the FA Cup weekend and we've both gone through. So even if we'd not beaten Chelsea, it was going to get rearranged because City have obviously gone through. So now I think it's at the end of April, which I think benefits Manchester City unless you beat us on Sunday, because if we beat you, they ain't got to play us till the end of April. And there is that train of thought that maybe if come the end of April we've got top four sorted and City need to beat us to stay ahead of you, that United might throw the game. But I personally do not. I know there'd be some United fans who'd happy for that to happen, but I don't think that would happen anyway. But it would have. Yeah, I think you're right. It sort of would have diluted the United Liverpool game on Sunday if you knew we were playing City in a couple of weeks' time as well.
Yeah, I'll have to be honest. I see City dropping points. I don't understand why people in the media are saying, oh, they'll just go through it now. They'll walk through the next 11 games. Look, they've dropped points over Christmas. They dropped points against Newcastle. They were dropping points left, right and centre over the past, until we played City or just after City. They dropped more points than us over the last 10 games and we're being called bottlers. It's hilarious how this has been played out. And one thing actually before we finish up at some point, Mark, I just want to say, I want to address all those people that say, we can't stand the thought of Liverpool fans winning this because we'll never hear the end of it. And that's something that's been thrown at Liverpool fans left, right and centre. What do they expect? When Leicester City won the Premier League, were Leicester City not allowed to celebrate it? Well, Manchester, if you won it now after a few years, wouldn't you really, really want to celebrate it? I don't think Liverpool fans are going to go around throwing it down people's throats, but of course we're going to celebrate it like anybody else. And you touched on it earlier on. Surely people would much rather a Liverpool win the Premier League, even if Spurs win the Premier League, than a Manchester City go and win the Premier League. A club that have basically stuck two fingers up to FFP and the rules and have just got oil money. And I'd actually bought another club during the week. I don't know if you picked that one up.
No, I didn't. And Craig, you know what? You're a really nice guy, and in normal circumstances, I would love you to win the Premier League over Manchester City, but I cannot agree. I cannot agree because... And I say this to Liverpool fans all the time, and you should take this as respect, because you are our biggest rival. And that is why I don't want you to win the league. And that is why I would prefer a soulless club that was only invented in 2008, which is totally and utterly where it is because of oil money. I would rather they won the league than you, because you are our biggest rival. And I know, and that's what it is. And at the end of the day, I would imagine it would be the same with you and Everton. You'd probably prefer Everton to win the league over us because we're your biggest rival. And I think a lot of Liverpool fans do get that. They get it. And as for the Liverpool reaction, well, you're right. If you win the league, you got to take your medicine. We've got to take our medicine, and I won't like it. But I keep saying, I'll only ever be honest. I think Liverpool are going to win the league, and I'm sure there is a part of reverse psychology, because my best mate lives in Drogheda over in Ireland, and he absolutely despises Liverpool. He's like, they're going to bloody win it. Every game you win, he's messaging me, they're going to bloody win it. This year's going to be it. And it'll only be August. Like, every year, he's stressing from August that this is going to be the year you're going to win it. And I'm just like, well, you know what? I think they are going to win it this year, because I don't trust Man City. How do you lose to Newcastle away? How do you lose to Crystal Palace at home with those players? So they could win every single game between now and the end of the season, but I don't trust them to do it. But I don't think you will drop that many points. So I think you're going to win it. So I hope I'm wrong. I desperately hope I'm wrong. But in any other circumstance, I would agree with you. But I just cannot have Liverpool winning the league, because they're the biggest rival, and that's as simple as it is.
I think I was mainly aiming, I can understand it from your perspective, and of course from a United perspective, but I was mainly aiming at the Arsenal fans, the Spurs fans, the Chelsea fans, all the B-Tech clubs, basically.
Oh, I agree with you on that, yeah.
In the race at the minute.
What's their problem with you anyway? I think
they're trying to become relevant, Mark. I think that's the issue.
United fans dislike Liverpool because the size of the two clubs, the histories of the two clubs. That's where it all comes from. The locality, it goes back to the canals. It's a real rivalry. Our rivalry is bigger than you than it is with City, and your rivalry with us is bigger than Everton. It's the biggest rivalry in English football. What the hell has it got to do with Arsenal and Chelsea and any other club? And you're right. I think any of those clubs should want you or Spurs to win it over Man City, because Man City, at the end of the day, they are an irrelevant bought club. The Chelsea Mark II. But that one
basically does Wigan with oil money.
Yeah, they're Wigan with oil money. Definitely are. Anyway, look, I've thoroughly enjoyed the show. It's absolutely whizzed by. So everybody, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. And Craig, shout out your channel. It's Anfield Agenda. So, but tell us, I found this channel before you came on, because it was about 10:30. I just finished doing some United Stand stuff, and I was on YouTube, and there was this live thing, and I looked at it, and basically it was a Liverpool channel that you go live at about, is it 10 o'clock every night? Similar to what we do, really, which is, I think it's just great. I think more clubs should be doing it.
Yeah, well, everything we do is live, as you said. We usually go live at about 10:15 every night of the week. We do match day watch-alongs again, much like yourself. And also much like yourself, Mark, everything we do is free. And it's going to be free. It's always going to be free. It's fan-focused, fan-based. We're not withholding to anybody. We try and speak our mind, regardless of what the consequences are. But we're just honest, down to earth people like yourself. And we love talking about the game. We just happen to be Liverpool fans. You're a United fan. But I think, look, you've set the benchmark for these fan channels. And it's very kind of you to have us on again, Mark. I do appreciate it.
No, mate, look, we're on a journey of the United Stand, which is ahead of the Anfield Agenda, just because of, when we started it. And I did find your channel by chance. And, the fact that you're a Liverpool one, I could have just gone, sod that, I don't like Liverpool. But it's not about that. I'm massively passionate about fan content. And I like the content that you do. And, I often just drop in and, sometimes put up something in the live comments, and actually people are all right about it, because you know what? Not every person watching our show is a United fan, and not everyone watching Craig's will be a Liverpool fan, because it's about fan content. So it's great, and I hope it keeps growing. And if you've not watched Anfield Agenda, then maybe get yourself on there tonight around 10 o'clock and just interact about it, because it's interesting. I wish you all the best, pal. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Mark. Always a pleasure.
But I don't wish you any luck on Sunday, as I'm sure you don't wish me either.
I wouldn't respect you if you did.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Tomorrow morning, the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference is at 9 a.m. It's at 9 a.m. So I'll be live just after that with the reaction. I think it's going to be a very interesting one. So back in the morning, just after 9, with this Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference. Make sure you've subscribed and you've got your notifications on with the bell. I'll see you in the morning. And there's lots of content if you want to watch some more United Stand stuff as well. Speak to you later. That was good.